Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you, and the rumors might actually be true. For the longest time, we have been wondering and reporting when Kurt Angle was finally going to return to WWE. It's been 10 years since Kurt Angle was in WWE. He left in 2006 due to, the story is that he was trying to get himself clean, and Vince McMahon kept on, putting him out there on the road and didn't want to give Kurt Angle a break, and Angle knew that he was having drug problems as well as alcohol problems at the time, and he wanted to get himself clean to try and save himself, try and save his family. And at the time, he put out a shoot interview, which is probably the one reason for a lot of the animosity and heat between Vince McMahon, where Angle called Vince the devil and basically said that he was glad to be done with WWE and that he would never go back there. It's a very weird, very, very weird sort of shoot interview. You actually believe the words that are coming out of Kurt Angle's mouth, but here we are 10 years later, and Angle is done with WWE. Angle will probably never be able to wrestle a match in WWE. I would be very surprised if Kurt Angle is able to pass a physical. He's very battered. He's very bruised. Everybody knows about what he went through in his Olympic wrestling career, where he, won the gold medal with a broken freaking neck. And then would wrestle, through just about any pain that was possible until the point where his body was just breaking down near the dying days of TNA. He went on his, I guess you can say his Kurt Angle retirement tour, the Kurt Angle farewell tour, having great matches with guys like Drew Galloway, as well as his last match against Bobby Lashley, which aired last week on Impact. Now that Angle is done with TNA, does this open the door where Angle could come back and maybe do some sort of a training job at the Performance Center, or come back and just sign some sort of a Legends deal where he would do things for the WWE Network, as well as finally put out a Kurt Angle DVD? He's been gone so long. There is a Kurt Angle VHS. It's true. It's true, but they have never produced a Kurt Angle DVD with the greatest matches of Kurt Angle. It's funny because when I think of Kurt Angle, I think of him as a WWE superstar who, wrestled there for years, and then when his career was almost up, he left there to go to TNA. But the dude wrestled for TNA longer than he ever wrestled for WWE. I believe he had a 10-year run with TNA, and the guy debuted in probably like 1998. So he did wrestle for like 8 years for WWE, but he did outlast his time in WWE in TNA for a long time. But Kurt Angle and Triple H, they had a meeting where I guess they just sort of ran into each other when they were at the Arnold Classic. When NXT was there, and Kurt Angle was there, he was doing things for the International Sports Hall of Fame. And I don't know. I think that Triple H knows that a lot of these older wrestlers that are no longer wrestling do have a place where they could come into WWE and sign some sort of a Legends deal and mean something to the business, where I guess that WWE would protect him from having to go out and do stupid things. We know that Kurt Angle is going to be wrestling a match in Phoenix. I believe it is like the week before WrestleMania. He's having a match against Rey Mysterio on an internet pay-per-view. And Angle would be able to come in, maybe do things for the WWE Network, such as interviews and talk about the Attitude Era. It's funny, they keep making all of these documentaries, and Angle, who was one of the biggest stars at the time, isn't able to come in. And I mean, think about the Triple H DVD. Kurt Angle and Triple H had a great run as being guys going against each other, and having the whole Stephanie McMahon, where she was sort of bouncing back and forth, and they weren't able to talk about that feud at all because Angle was wrestling for the competition. So we'll see what goes down with this one, but I know there's a lot of people with their fingers crossed thinking that Kurt Angle's going to pop up on Raw tonight from Pittsburgh. I honestly don't believe it's going to happen. I honestly don't really even know when Kurt Angle would be able to go into the Hall of Fame, because I think that he's a guy that could be used as a main eventer and could be used as a big return to come back to WWE once he finally does get used on television. And you would think that, Sting is this year for the Hall of Fame. Daniel Bryan would be next year for the Hall of Fame as the main eventer. Kurt Angle would be the following year, and wherever 34 would be. But they're going to get to a point where they're going to need these guys to be the main eventers of this Hall of Fame, because you don't really want to have a real weak class, and having a guy like Kurt Angle coming back and returning would be really big, and people would be excited to see it. He would almost be treated a lot like an Ultimate Warrior, a guy who finally comes back after being gone for so long. I don't think that means they keep him off of television in the next 2 years. There's not really a real big way to use him, but I do think that once he finally makes that TV return, it is going to be a big deal.